The Brewerton Water Pollution Control Plant was constructed in 1974 and has a design flow of 3 mgd. Computers in the operations room are used to control various plant processes. Wastewater from Bridgeport to Brewerton is collected via a series of pumping stations and is ultimately conveyed to the raw sewage pumping station. The influent wastewater passes through a screen rake where rags are removed. Heavier solids are allowed to settle out in the aerated grit chamber. Raw wastewater is introduced into the aeration tank where it combines with activated sludge to allow for biological nutrient removal. Following a period of time in the aeration tank, this wastewater is referred to as a mixed liquor. The mixed liquor then flows to 2 clarifier tanks where solids are allowed to settle out and clearer water flows over weirs. Clarifier effluent flows into a contact tank where disinfection is accomplished using sodium hypochlorite. Disinfection chemical residual is removed through the use of sodium bisulfite, which is introduced on the downside of the weir. The final effluent is discharged to the Oneida River. Settled solids from the clarifiers are collected into a digestion tank. The concentrated sludge from the digestion tank is thickened using a polymer. Excess water from this thickened sludge is removed in the rotary drum thickener. Thickened sludge is hauled to the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant for further treatment. The Wetzel Road Wastewater Treatment Plant was originally constructed in 1968. In 2010, it was substantially upgraded to a 7 mgd plant. Computers in the operations room are used to control various plant processes. Wastewater from the towns of Clay and Salina are collected and transported via sewers and pump stations to the headworks building. Raw influent passes through 2 screen rakes which remove rags. Heavier solids settle out in the covered aerated grit channels. The wastewater is then pumped to 3 primary clarifier tanks where solids are allowed to settle. Floating material in the primary clarifiers is skimmed into a trough. Primary effluent is screened again to remove finer material. The primary effluent is collected and is pumped up to the bath where it will undergo biological treatment. Advanced treatment of the wastewater occurs in the biological aerated filter tanks, otherwise known as BAF. Wastewater passes through a sand media where biological nutrient removal occurs. Air is added to these tanks to encourage biological activity. Effluent from the BAF tanks passes through cloth media disc filters to remove particulate solids. Disinfection of this effluent is achieved by using ultraviolet light. The post-aeration tank ensures that the final effluent has a high dissolved oxygen concentration. The final effluent is discharged to the Seneca River. Thickened sludge is concentrated and stabilized using anaerobic digestion. The resulting sludge is hauled away to the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant for further treatment. The Meadowbrook Limestone Wastewater Treatment Plant was constructed in 1973 and has a design flow of 6.5 mgd. Wastewater from the town of DeWitt, Manlius, Pompey, and the city of Syracuse is transported via sewers and pumping stations to the influent pumping building. Computers in the operations room are used to control various plant processes. Influent passes through a screen rake where rags are removed, and grit is removed through a specialized system. Influent flows into a wet well where it is pumped to the aeration tanks. Here, influent combines with activated sludge where biological nutrient removal will occur. After a period of time in these tanks, the wastewater is referred to as a mixed liquor. The mixed liquor then flows to two clarifier tanks. Solids are allowed to settle out in these tanks, while floating scum is also removed. The clarifier effluent then flows to a contact tank where sodium hypochlorite is used to disinfect. After a period of time in this tank, the final effluent is discharged to Limestone Creek. Sludge is collected, aerated, and thickened. A polymer is added to the sludge to thicken it even more. Excess water is removed from the sludge in a rotary drum thickener. The thickened sludge is hauled to the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant for further treatment. The Baldwinsville Seneca Knolls Wastewater Treatment Plant was constructed in 1982 and has a design flow of 9 mgd. Wastewater from Baldwinsville, Radisson, and surrounding areas is collected and transported via a series of pumping stations to the raw influent building. Computers in the operations room are used to control various plant processes. The influent passes through screen rakes which remove rags. Heavier solids are removed in an aerated grit chamber. Influent then flows into a series of primary clarifiers where additional settling occurs. Floating scum is also removed in these tanks. Pure oxygen is generated on site and is used in the activated sludge process. Pure oxygen is also stored on site. The wastewater then flows into covered aeration tanks where it is mixed with pure oxygen to facilitate biological nutrient removal. The resulting mixed liquor from those tanks flows into a secondary clarifier for additional settling. Solids again settle out, and the effluent flows over the weir. Effluent then flows into a contact tank where it is disinfected using sodium hypochlorite. The final effluent is discharged to the Seneca River. Collected sludge is thickened using a polymer. The sludge and polymer mixture is then pumped up to the belt presses. The sludge mixture passes through a series of rollers. Excess water is removed. The resulting dewatered sludge is collected for disposal. The Oak Orchard Wastewater Treatment Plant was constructed in 1981 and has a design flow of 10 mgd. Computers in the operations room are used to control various plant processes. Raw influent flows through two screen rakes which remove rags. Influent flows into the covered aerated grit chambers where heavier solids are allowed to settle. Influent then flows into primary clarifiers where additional settling occurs. Floating scum is also collected and removed. Pure oxygen is generated on site and is used in the activated sludge process. Pure oxygen is also stored on site. The wastewater then flows into covered aeration tanks where it is mixed with pure oxygen, which facilitates biological nutrient removal. The mixed liquor from these tanks then flows into secondary clarifiers where settling occurs. Solids are collected in these tanks and effluent flows over the weirs. The clarifier effluent flows through two lagoons where additional settling occurs. Lagoon effluent then flows through a contact tank where disinfection occurs using sodium hypochlorite. The effluent flows around the baffles, which help provide contact time. The final effluent is discharged to the Oneida River. Sludge is thickened and stored in covered tanks. The sludge is hauled to the Metropolitan Wastewater Treatment Plant for further treatment.